What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I hope everybody's doing okay. So, for this story, I'm just gonna get right into it. This story starts off with me and my good friend driving up to our friend's college for Halloween weekend. And for context, our friend that dorms at the college, he's a member of the frat. So, he's the one that was going to be letting us into all the frat houses and all the parties and whatnot. So it's about a 2 hour drive from our hometown. And by the time we get there, we park the car, we grab our stuff, and, we head right up to our friend's dorm to meet up with him. And, once we get to the dorm, we start getting dressed, putting on our costumes. I think my friend that came with me dressed up as the Riddler from one of the Batman movies, and I dressed up as the Flash. And as we were getting ready, we were pretty much just getting ready to head down to our first pregame to meet up with the rest of our friends, which was pretty exciting. I hadn't seen my friends in a while at this point in time, so that was pretty refreshing. So we get dressed, we go down to the first pregame, and once we get there, I'm just catching up with all of my friends. We're all guys and girls, just having a good time, and everybody's having their drinks and whatever. And I had known at this point in time that I was at a party college or a frat college, whatever you want to call it. As soon as I seen that half of the girls were looking like they were straight out of a Game of Thrones brothel. They were pretty much calling, convincing themselves that they were dressing up as Snow White. And I'm like, dude, you're literally wearing lingerie. But whatever. I'm not judging or anything. They can wear whatever they want, whatever the hell they want. But anyways, so we're all just having a good time, and we're all pretty much getting ready to go down to our first frat party at this point. And so this frat basement, by the time we get there, the setting is a basement, like I just said, and it's a pretty cramped basement, dark room, flashing lights, and they're bumping white girl music. They got that Katy Perry on, they got that Justin Bieber music on. Good times, can't complain. And we're just all having a good time. Our friend group is running pretty deep. There's a lot of us, and we're just having a good time. So about an hour passes by at this point, and I'm starting to realize that I'm starting to lose my friends slowly one by one. We walked in as a pretty big group, like at least 10 people, and at this point, after an hour had passed, I'd only seen about three of them or so. But I wasn't tripping out or anything. I was still having a good time, still doing my thing. But it just wasn't the ideal setting to get lost in case I need to call someone. So, eventually I'm like, screw this. I just wanted to like take a break from the loud music or whatever, get some fresh air. So, I leave the basement, and at the exit of the frat basement, a couple of my friends were there. They were waiting for me, and like absolute G's, they were waiting for me. And they told me that the rest of our friend group had gone over to another frat party. So, we just all collectively leave this frat basement to go meet up with the rest of our friend group again at this other frat house. And by the time we get there, this frat house had looked a little bit different. There were two parts to it. This frat house had a balcony part, and it had like the front yard area, also like where the line was for people to get in. So as we get there, I see there's an unusually large crowd surrounding like one particular area. And, there were obviously police there just to make sure things were, under control. But, I had seen an unusually large crowd and a bunch of cops surrounding this crowd. So, I'm here thinking a fight went down or something like that. So I go over, instinctively just to see what's going on. And as I get closer, I just hear a girl like crying really, really loud. So I'm getting closer, and I look at the girl, and there was blood running down all over her face. It wasn't like cosmetic blood, it wasn't costume blood or anything like that. It was real blood. This girl had like cracked her head open or whatever. I was asking people like what happened. And the girl actually was the first one to respond. She said that somebody had pushed her off of the balcony. And I was like, whoa, like that's freaking crazy, dog. And I hadn't believed it at first. Like I thought she was being dramatic or whatever. Like I thought somebody just punched her or something. But everybody else was saying they had seen it and whatever. And I'm thinking to myself at this point, like, yeah, this has to be my first and last frat party. I'm gonna be honest. I was tweaking out a little bit. I was like, what if that happens to me or one of my friends? Um, but anyways, I'm living the moment. I'm still trying to get into that frat house. I'm still trying to, see the rest of my friends and whatever. So I get in line with me and my friend, and eventually our turn comes. And once our turn comes, we're at the gate. It's a pretty low fence. It was about like like chest high, waist high. And there were three bouncers, and we're like our boys in the frat. We're good. Just let us in. But they told us that we can't go in. And that just did not sit right with me or my friend. So we get out of line and we wait a couple minutes. And so after a couple minutes pass by, I just start throwing a fit. I'm like, screw this. I'm trying to get in one way or another. It's Halloween weekend, baby. So I start smashing down the fence. Like I just start stepping all over the fence. I'm breaking this fence down, this cheap plastic fence, and I start climbing the balcony wall like I'm Peter Parker, dude. But I eventually almost reach the top, but I start getting yanked down by three frat dudes. I remembered I pulled up as the Flash, not as the Spider-Man. And they yanked me down, and I just had scratches all over my arm, which I didn't realize I had them until the next morning. But anyway, so I get pulled down and they start chasing me around for a little bit or whatever. And eventually they just stop chasing me. But the bad part was we didn't end up getting into the frat house, which kind of sucked. But I heard some crazy things happened that were in there, from the rest of my friends. Somebody had pulled a weapon out on somebody else, and somebody, one of our mutual friends, smashed a wine bottle over someone's head for no particular reason whatsoever. But which I thought was still pretty cool. Um, but still stupid at the same time. But yeah, the night was pretty much ending at this point. I was a little pissed that I couldn't get into the frat house, the second one. I kind of just wanted to vibe out on the balcony for a little bit. But yeah, pretty much that's the end of the story. I mean, nothing else crazy really happened by the end of this night. I was just pretty much vibing out with the rest of my friends, just catching up. It was a solid night for a reunion. But other than that, the night was pretty much coming to an end. Everybody was heading back to their dorms or their colleges or whatever. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this story time. If you guys liked the video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and please hit that subscription button as well. I mean, it costs absolutely nothing. And you guys would be helping my channel out a lot, and I would just appreciate it highly. But that'll be it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video, and peace.